Hello everybody and welcome back to this week's new vlog. I thought that I would do a 24-hour reading challenge. Not staying up all night. I do not have the capacity to do that anymore. But doing a challenge of seeing how long it'll take me to read for full 24 hours on my timer. Hopefully my timer doesn't crap out on me because it's done that before. I have 3 books that I would like to read during this time. I have an anticipated read of mine. This book will Bury Me by Ashley Winstead. This is, I think, about a true crime-ish sort of story. It actually came a week earlier than the release date, and then I had other books I needed to read and just never gotten around to it. I also have a romance sequel that could be read as a standalone as it's not following the same characters. This is Kennedy Ryan's This Could Be Us. I really liked the first book and immediately put this one on hold, so I'm very much excited to read this as well. And the last book that I have is for a book club. I think it's for the Literally Dead book club. This is The Inheritance by Trisha Sakleja. I think this is another island, people are being taken out one by one type of situation. The Agarwals are gathering on a private luxury island off of Scotland for a much anticipated family reunion, and they all have secrets they are of course willing to die to protect. Is this the one where everyone gets taken out one by one? I guess there's just a lot of secrets to be uncovered. So I have these 3 books. Not yet sure which one I will be starting with since 2 are thrillers and 1 is romance. This type of video always takes me forever to do. Yesterday, I fell asleep on my commute, obviously, so I still have so much left, but I didn't actually read this time, I don't think, because I've only read 10 pages of my book. This kind of video always takes me so long to do, so hopefully I can read more. I literally 10 pages in. What I think is happening in this book is that this girl, college student, after the unexpected death of her father, Jane Sharp, she's grieving, right? And she decides to go on this true crime hunt, amateur sleuth style, and I think she writes a book, and that's what we're reading. But I only read 10 pages, so I don't know. I don't know what's going on, why that's so flat, but I decided not to style my bangs today. But it's really drying really weird. I need to read a lot because I started this challenge 2 days ago. Hello? I started this challenge 2 days ago and I've barely read. I'm going to open up my book of the month box because I will maybe be reading this book depending on how long this takes me to do, because like I said, I've read so little. I do want to read a lot today. I still have not even cut 23 hours, so I definitely need to do that. My goal, if you've watched my reset for April, is to read at least 10 minutes a day, and I have been doing that, but I think for today I want to read for at least an hour and get this number down to 21, right? That's over an hour, but we'll try to do that. Amazing if it gets down to 20, obviously, in which case I would probably finish a whole ass book. The book that I got for April is Every Sweet Thing is Bitter by Samantha Cruson. I believe this is a debut and it fulfills that goal on the Book of the Month app. Really gorgeous. This is about a young, oh, the font is so large. I kind of hate that. What am I, a child? My bookmark says, I'll hold your spot. Okay. Not as funny. This one is about a woman 13 years ago. She ran her mother over and her mother survived. Her name is Providence. This act made her a felon, obviously. And years later, her mother disappears under suspicious circumstances. She told herself that she's going to return home to find some closure from her estranged family and is going to make their father pay for her sins. I definitely undersold that really hard. Like I said, I have not read a lot over the last 2 days. It's nearing dinner time, so but I'm not quite hungry yet, so I do want to get in some reading. I am only up to page 55 right now. I will come in to do a check-in and an actual synopsis once I read more. I have been reading for about an hour and 10 minutes and I've read 95 pages. It's getting really good. I'm like in a good rhythm. I want to read more today. I can finally give you a proper synopsis of this book as I begin chapter 33, page 152. Jane Sharp is our main character. Her mother calls her to let her know that her father has unexpectedly passed away and she's spiraling. She is a senior in college, comes home to prepare for the funeral and grieve. This story breaks out about the murder of a young woman and she kind of falls down the rabbit hole of solving this case and joins this website called the Network of Amateur Sleuths that they can talk about. It's sort of like a Reddit forum where you can exchange information about what you found and give tips that will eventually lead to the capture of like the killer. Some people work with the police, blah blah blah, and she befriends this group of people. Months later, after joining this group, a shocking murder of 3 sorority girls breaks and they're trying to solve this case. Of course, the police are having a really difficult time of solving this case, so Jane and her friends are trying to solve it, as are a lot of people on the network as well. It comes up that there's no evidence, there's so much media hype that the police are really cagey, they're not willing to take any tips or give out any information, there's no give and take between those. They're thinking that the killer is a lot more smart, maybe has done this before, could possibly be a serial killer, just because they're evading everybody. It sort of feels more and more like they're walking into this trap set up for everyone to fail. This book is being written as sort of like a memoir written by Jane a year after these events. I think it's really interesting. The way that this is being narrated really reminds me of Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, which I liked. So it's definitely a skewed point of view. There's little footnotes in here because there was, I guess, a slanderous book written about her account, about her time solving this. We don't know who it's being written by, who wrote it, or who did it. I'm sort of kind of getting the feeling that it's either one of her friends, which I thought at the beginning, but they don't seem very important. So now I'm thinking that it might be one of the people within her crew. So I follow Ashley Winstead, the author, on Instagram, and I was seeing a lot of her process of writing this, hype around this before, like just her process of writing about this story, because it is apparently inspired by a real account in Idaho, the University of Idaho, which I did not know about. So I have a few news articles pulled up on my laptop to read those stories. In her author's note, she wrote that she kind of wrote this in the time of her life when her actual father died as well, sort of similarly to how Jane, and it struck a chord with her and she was trying to grapple with her grief. She really fixated on the death of these 4 college students and how there are really good people within the true crime community and also really bad and harmful people who are just kind of go about true crime in a really disgusting way. I, as a fan of true crime myself, try to be really respectful of that. I'm not really necessarily like Jane in going amateur sleuth style. I don't think I would do anything like that. I just enjoy listening to podcasts and reading books about it. This isn't meant to be nonfiction or anything like that. It's apparently an ongoing case as well, so she just wanted to be really respectful about it. But I am really enjoying the true crime aspect of this. I enjoy reading about true crime in a fictional and non-fictional aspect. Not that there's a lot of true crime fictional books that I've read before. I'm really liking it. So far, Jane is kind of really lost herself. She withdrew from school and this group that she's in is really eating up a lot of her time. She's working full-time after she had dropped out of school. You would think that this was like her actual job. She sees her father in a lot of the victims, but I guess them being like murdered and taken away out of their loved ones' lives really quickly, she really resonates with. She has really vivid dreams about murders themselves and feels like it's happening to her, which I don't really know what that says about her, but that seems really horrifying. And I feel like these cases are consuming her a little bit too much, and she doesn't really seem to have a life outside of this. I read so much today, and I'm continuing to read since the timer is dwindling down just a little bit more. I'm about to start chapter 74, which is 347th page, and I've read over 100 pages today with my little buffaloing Cheez-Its. I think we've been now told who has written the other book, which is really slanderous about her, and I understand that point of view for sure. I also think that there's hinting that one of them dies. Obviously, it's not Jane because she's writing this book, unless it's like finished posthumously, but I feel like one of them will die and be a target of the serial killer, or maybe they just get seriously hurt because they're amateur sleuths. Stakes are a lot lot higher now because they're actually in Delphine. They've been hired as FBI consultants even though they're unpaid, and so they're on scene to investigate and do things that the police are unable to. I really feel like Jane is kind of unhinged now because she's not tied down to her job. She has no money and her whole life is like being taken over by trying to solve this crime, so I'm really worried about her. It looks like I'm not going to be getting any sleep because I need to finish this book. Oh my god. I finished This Book Will Bury Me last night. I stayed up so late to read this. I'm running on 6 hours of sleep. I'm so tired, but I'm feeling great. I talked with my friend on the phone about our summer plans and got AT's ticket. Coda and I are going again this year. Also for the floor, great seats. Hopefully we're definitely closer than last time. But anyway, I finished this. 5 stars. Easy 5 stars. I was looking at reviews before I went to bed and a few, like the top review I understood because they had gotten an arc and they were really angry about the fact that this book is highly inspired by an actual event. Ashley Winstead does talk about this in her author's note, which I felt like before I read the book and before I actually pre-ordered the book, saw that she had written about it and wanted to talk about like the true crime phenomenon and how crazy it gets. Just like Jane, she really became aware of this case at the same time that she was grieving the loss of her father, similarly to Jane. And so at the core, yes, this is a true crime book, but it's also a book about this young woman who is grieving the death of her father and is using finding justice for other people as a way to deal with that. I'm definitely, like I said, not a sleuth type of person that looks up cases and finds justice. I think it can be a really great thing, but also it could be a really scary thing, just like a lot of things in the world. And so I don't really have a problem with it. This definitely solidified that I love Ashley Winstead. I've realized that I've read all of her books. I don't own all of them because I got them. I have something on the stove. It's fine. I think from here on out I will be buying them, her thrillers and romance combined. I didn't really love Midnight is the Darkest Hour, but I did really enjoy this. I think the writing was done super well, and the fact that this was like Jane's book was really interesting. The footnotes kind of help to bring you back to that and remind you that that's what she was doing in the first place, and it does get really messy because they get so close to it. I feel like that's the reason why you're supposed to be an amateur sleuth and you're supposed to let the police help, but there are great things about being an amateur sleuth and having a new perspective on something. I don't agree with the hacking that they do because you're like really sifting through it as if you are the police and it gives you more power than you should or deserve. I really like this, like especially during part 3. That's when like obviously the book is starting to like get to the core, the height of it, and it just took this direction that I kind of saw but didn't think that it would go towards, that it was so good. It really gave like the morally gray aspect of it and I really enjoyed this. So 5 fucking stars. I'm so glad. I have 19 hours left and I'm immediately gonna start another book after I eat. Today's already felt like such a long day. My legs are definitely tired. I read on the treadmill, walked to the further library, got a new book so I can check this off of a series as well. Went grocery shopping. I'm getting down to editing my video, but I was able to read on the treadmill like I said, so I can talk about this one. I started this book yesterday actually. This is This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan, which is a sequel but could be read as a standalone. You'll just see other characters coming in and out that you'll recognize from the other books. The third book I believe is coming out this month, if not this year. I'm definitely really looking forward to it. This is the second book in the Skyland series or trilogy and is following Soledad, who is Yasmine's friend. She is rebuilding her life after a divorce. She was a homemaker. Now that she's divorced, she has to have an income and be able to provide for herself and her 3 daughters. She is keeping busy and trying to like really work on herself and rediscover herself after realizing that she was in this really kind of emotionally abusive relationship with a narcissist who constantly put her down. And then there's Judah. He is a really wonderful single father of twins who have autism, and has this really great relationship with his ex-wife, and they get along really well still. They're like really great friends, and honestly this way of divorce is very amicable. She has a new husband and they are balancing co-parenting incredibly well, but he can't seem to resist her, and Soledad really wants to focus on herself and self-love. She's calling it self-partnering, or at least that's what her therapist is telling her to focus on. And so I read so much yesterday. I read almost 130 pages, and I've read like 80 pages already today, so I would say I'm like 50%, a little bit over of the way through, and I am eating this up. It is definitely very much a slow burn. In the first book, Jasmine and Josiah were exes that were getting back together, so it was like a second chance, so there was a lot of like existing tension there. That was also a really great relationship that they had, having divorced. Anyway, this one is very much a slow burn in the sense that like Judah doesn't really want to cross this line of dating her because the way that they met is very complicated, but the attraction is definitely noticeable. Right now I'm 200 pages in and there has not been a single kiss or anything. They have not gone on a date. This type of romance really allows you to focus on each character and allows you to get to know them better and really connect with both of them, and not just be invested in their relationship but them as people, which I'm actually really enjoying. And because of that, I'm not really like, oh, when's the kissing gonna start? Like, hurry up. Even though, yeah, I would like to see some kissing. I think Soledad is really appreciating the attention because her ex-husband would constantly put her down, tell her that she had a loose pussy after having 3 daughters, and like was secretly cheating on her on the side, but like coming up with all these reasons to be like,
yeah, you are overweight, you're not as beautiful, blah blah blah.
And it was really awful for her. So I really love this journey that she's taking. She's using social media to like build her brand as this homemaker. The house lady is her thing. I'm really enjoying this. Right now I have 16:45 left. 16 hours left, which seems like a lot, but I feel like I'm really blowing through this. I hope that I don't have to edit for too long because I only have like one more book to edit. It's a new reading vlog. You've probably already seen it. I would really love to get back to this and cut down on the hours, but it's taking so long. I haven't even reached 10 hours of reading. This took me about 4-ish hours to read, which does add up because it is over 400 pages. So that's cool to be able to see how long each takes me. I just came home. New York is back to being a little bit chilly again. I got back on the train for my commute home and realized that my timer was going, so I don't actually know how long it was going for. So I didn't end up tracking for my way back just to sort of help counter whatever time that I had lost. At the moment, I have about 15 hours or so left. I definitely will be able to finish This Could Be Us today. 40-ish pages left. This is like really a slow burn. They've shared a kiss 200 pages or so in. It's really good though. Like, I'm not feeling like I'm missing anything, but I just don't really see this as a relationship just yet, just because of the pacing of it. And I'm not really sure what the conflict is going to be, although it just seems like they've been working through the conflict the entire time because of the nature of how Judah has met her kids, and they just do not like him and don't trust him. I made miso butter chocolate chip cookies. I meant to use doenjang, but I realized that I didn't have any. It's kind of this salty sweet. It's really good. I'm gonna hold this while I talk about finishing This Could Be Us. There wasn't any kissing until like 200 plus pages in, which was fine because like I said, I really was enjoying reading about Sol and Judah individually. They're like 40s, I think, so it was really interesting seeing how they're balancing their careers and their child, their divorces, especially since they were in such different circumstances. But like by the time they came around to this relationship, it really wasn't a relationship, and there was this conflict that like didn't really need to be this conflict. I wasn't buying into them saying they loved each other because they weren't dating. They had sex like twice, and then there was this year of yearning, but like did they actually know each other, you know? So I'm giving this book 3 stars because I did really enjoy enjoy the book still. I just like wasn't really invested in the relationship. I'm gonna finish my cookie and I will talk to you about my other book. I am 12 hours in. I'm cutting it. It's going pretty good. I already read like 80 pages today, so I'm feeling good. Hi, editing me here. This video is getting way too long, so I have to split it up into 2 parts. I've decided. I did complete this challenge though, I swear. Now I just don't need to I don't have to rush edit it anymore. But part 2 will be coming next week. Please stay tuned and subscribe to get upload notifications and see how many more books that I have to read to finish this stupid challenge. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next week. Bye. I started The Inheritance.
Through reporting, I begin to comprehend the truth.
Every Sweet Thing is Bitter by Samantha Cruson. Because you make an ass out of you and me, or whatever it is that she says.